Hello and welcome to PM Personality Profile. My name is Nana Ansakwal, the fourth, and every Friday, as usual, we talk to a personality. And today I'm talking to somebody I can call my friend. Captain Budu-Koomson is a man with a story, a man who I think should write a book to document his experiences, because it's not one that the average father goes through. But this man has been through a lot. A soldier, a very fine gentleman, and I'm here just to get up close and get some of the details. You know what? You would love his story. Don't move. Well, hello and welcome to the most exciting part. You see, that's one of the privileges of this job, you know, when you end up in the media. You get to meet people who ordinarily may not have been your friend because, you know, they are quite up there. But then, because of your camera and because of what you do, they allow you into their space and give you the privilege of sharing their intimate stories with you. You, on the other hand, at home also benefit a lot. And today is one of such days. You know, this is a man I've known and I've come to admire a lot because he's driven by a lot of passion. I haven't done a lot of research in that because I can't seem to find a lot about him out there, even though I know he has a story to tell. I'm here to talk to Captain Budu-Koomson. I'm sure most of you, the name doesn't sound straight. You've seen him on TV, you've heard him on radio, and he stands his ground and you say it as it is. But then one will ask, you know, where from all this power, where from all this vim, as they say in Ghana? I'm here to be inquisitive. So just like you, I'll be asking the questions and I'll be finding out for the first time, just like you would. But I know he has a story to tell. At least somebody who's been on exile and come back. First question is, you know, why did he even go on exile? Folks, I'm here to talk to Captain Budu-Koomson. And Captain, thank you so much for allowing me to your home.
Thank you. For me, it's a privilege to host you.
Yes. Captain, you know, you've become, you know, a lot of people I can call my friends from afar. And so I'm here to talk to my friend. But Captain, I want to go back all the way to 1953 in Goso because that's where you were born.
Yeah, sure.
But I know you're not from Goso.
No.
So then we asked, you know, why Goso and what's mom and dad doing in Goso then?
Well, my dad initially was a teacher.
Okay.
Initially was a teacher. I don't know, maybe that must be in the 20s or 30s. And in Goso, at that time, he was a priest. He was a priest and had been posted to Goso in the Brong-Ahafo region. That's where I was born. But don't ask me where's Goso because I've only visited that town once. And I know that it's on the way to Sunyani somewhere in the Brong-Ahafo region.
So what did you grow after where did you sort of grow up? Where was the next posting that you when you were growing up?
I remember faintly Enyana Basa.
Okay.
Faintly. That must have been 57 because I remember Kwame Nkrumah came around and we were in our knickers standing by the roadside. 57, I must have been 4 years or so.
Okay.
You know, and we were standing by the roadside and it was independence and it wasn't Kwame Nkrumah, but maybe the regional commissioner or the district commissioner, somebody. That's when I started getting aware of my surroundings. But I actually became more aware of my surroundings from 58 going, when my dad had joined the Ghana Armed Forces.
Because so your dad was in the army?
Yes, because immediately after independence, Kwame Nkrumah wanted to Ghanaianize or indigenize the armed forces. And there were almost all the officers were white.
Yeah.
So Kwame Nkrumah wanted to get in some black officers. And my dad happened to be one of the first batch of the black officers in the Ghana Armed Forces. He was the first chaplain, black chaplain of the Ghana Armed Forces. So in 58, I remember we were posted to Takra. That's where I became aware of my surroundings. I was 5 then.
Okay. So he moved from like chaplaincy to the army?
He was also a chaplain, but he moved from the civil pastoral duties to the military chaplaincy.
Okay.
To the military chaplaincy.
Well, I'm just wondering that, if the chaplain could go through all the military drills of running.
Sure,
up
they
and down.
did. they had to go through. I remember small boy said your daddy had gone west for some training and he came back looking funny. I think they had cropped the hair. God knows what it was. And they must have gone through the trainings. And because I remember he used to talk about Aldershot, all those British training camps. He was proud to have visited all those places. I didn't know where in hell that thing was, But he must have, because I remember 60 or 61, they had to emplane to the Congo. Kwame Nkrumah decided to deploy Ghanaian soldiers to the Congo. And everybody had to carry his complete battle order. And that thing behind your back is about 40 Ks. So if you don't go through the training, you may not be able to carry all your equipment with you.
That's a small human being behind your back.
Yeah.
But, Aldershot, then your old man was a complete gentleman.
He must have been. He was a gentleman, though. I remember he would come home at 1:30, 2 o'clock, have his lunch, and there should be siesta. Total quiet in the house. Then he would wake up around 3:34. He would do some gardening, and 5, take a shower, and will have to put on his Wellington boots. They called them mosquito boots then. And then put on his tie, long sleeves, and he's off to the mess to drink tea. So he was very British.
I can tell. So then your upbringing is a good upbringing, not the old, we had nothing to eat, we had to walk from here to there. You don't have that story to tell. There's no apologies to that either.
No, I must say that we were privileged because in Takoradi, where we were living, everywhere we went, we were only with the whites. The white officers, the Navy officers, the Air Force, everything was white, Takoradi Beach Road, number 2, and Acheampong, Ghana Railways was on the other side. And then you go straight, you go to the regional commissioner's house. Remember those days when Kwame Nkrumah could come to Western region, you could see him from your house. You stand in front of your house and he has to go to the regional minister. Yes, and the school I attended, which was just across our home, my elder brother and I were the first blacks. We were just 2 in that school. That was, I remember, 59, 60.
Okay.
We were the first 2 blacks in there. So I would say that, yes, I can't complain. I can't complain.
We want a good story every now and then. Every now and then we want a good story. Yeah. Captain, so from Takoradi, because I know you went to Prempeh. Yes. Is it when you finished like primary 6 from Takoradi then straight to Kumasi, or was there some intermediaries? No,
it was straight to Kumasi. I remember when we left, I think we got to Kumasi in 63, thereabouts. And I had come from this international school and I couldn't get this international school in Kumasi, so I had to go to Wesley College Practice School. And for me, it was a total strange experience. And unfortunately, the next day was art and craft. And Eja Isel, the headmaster, Obom Babasa, and he had come in there and me, I thought, hey, international school boy, just a few days, my dad brings me and picks me. And we were looking for the art and craft. Everybody should show. They were weaving straw, raffia, and they were weaving cap, hats, and baskets. And for me, it was total strange land. I was just reading my comic. The guy came, art and craft. I didn't have any. By the time I could say, Jack, proud. He started caning me. I jumped out of the window. I never got back to the school for the next 2 weeks. I told my dad I won't go to school. I said, they are barbarians. They beat everybody. For me, it was a very strange experience. And I remember the morning mathematics, multiplication. Yeah. 10 times 4. If you delay 1 second, proud. So for me, it was a total strange experience. But I ended up enjoying it. From there, we went to Prempeh College. And from Prempeh, did you go straight to the army or you? Actually, I wanted to go straight to the army. At our time, they introduced the military 6th form at GSTS. Okay. That was in 1970-71. That's just when I had finished Form 5. And I applied to go to the military 6th form. And I made a mistake. I got home and my dad asked me, and I said, oh, I had applied to the military 6th form. He just picked a phone, called somebody in Burma camp, and said, check and take that name out. That was me. I couldn't go to the army. So, and I was a rebel, so I also, this time we were right in Takoradi. And I was following these seamen, you know, ashore seamen, my guy. And I said, if you wouldn't let me go, maybe should be in Kosku.
Hey.
So not doing that, I had gained admission to Infansipim. And I was just running around secondary Takoradi. I didn't give a toss about school. Until one day I got them and said, look, my father called me and said, are you aware that schools have reopened? I couldn't care less. I said, Infansipim, that's what your first choice. And I said, so we had to negotiate. And I was not that serious in school. I remember my dad said that if you pass, I will give you a gift. And I held it against him until he died.
Oh dear.
Why would you tell me if you pass? My trouble was that the brother I come directly after was a break. You know, so they will always compare you with him. And the two of us went to that international school.
Okay.
You know, and that's Chikata's group, these Chikatas. The Infansipim, the Kwame Nkrumah did an experiment today. They did 4 years O-level, 1 year A-level, and they took them almost all out. So he was a break. And me, I was an average student, you know, so for my dad to tell me that if you pass, Mecha Wadi, I'm so wow.
This guy has no hope.
So he said, I said, you remember you said, oh, Mecha Wadi? I said, yeah, okay. What do you want? Instead of a trunk, a portmanteau. You know, so I went to school with those days, portmanteau was a sophisticated
Ecolac,
bag.
as they called it. Ecolac. They had a brand called Ecolac or something.
You know, and then they bought me a portmanteau to because I'm your guy, fast form, no trunk. You know, that's how I got to Infansipim. And it was a twist. Suddenly I became very active sports-wise. Suddenly I joined the school sports team. I was doing 100 meters, the relays, triple jump. And in Prempeh College, no, but I was nothing. I was not interested in anything.
Wow.
You know, so that total twist to the extent that, you know, those days we had the triangular games.
Yeah.
So we'll come to Achimota, Presec here and all those things and have these triangular games. And one session I almost beat Sam Crab, who was a national hurdles champion. You know, so people say, Koomson, where is this guy come from? But there was a total shift from the Form 5 to the 6th form. There was a total shift. You know, I became more athletic and more physical, you know.
Was your dream always to join the army because of that or?
Yes. I remember when we were little in Kumasi, I used to sneak into my father's bedroom. In the military, there's certain standard furnishing. There's this tall mirror, full length, where if you dress, you look at yourself and make sure everything is okay. And I would sneak into my father's bedroom and put on his cap and then put his cane under and salute myself. I remember I used to do that. You know, I was fascinated with them. And when we were in Kumasi, we used to, it was a lot of officers, you know, General Kotoka's children, Afrifa's children, Major Prempeh's children. We were like the officers. We could form our own corps and march, and I bet you we could have beaten the soldiers who were marching competition with them. And we used to go to the cookhouse. Look at us. Your parents are the officers in there. And we go to the cookhouse and polish the recruits' their shoes for cookhouse surplus. That's the fun of it, you know. And if you are caught, the provost sergeant caught you, he will hold you by the neck and bring you home, the way they will beat you. But I was fascinated with the military, and I always wanted to, and I was a weakling. You know, I remember why I even went to Prempeh College. My brothers were all going to the schools in the south, the three ahead of me, GSTS, Fijai, Infansipim. I also wanted to go south. And they said, no, you are a sickler. I mean, I wasn't a sickler, but you are a sickling. Every time you had asthma, you had the cold, you had a this, so I remember she used to knit, you know, crochet. These women, they used to knit shirts. Yeah. So she would always knit a half top for me to protect my chest. Otherwise, I'll get a cold and the next day I'm down with asthma. So they insisted I have to go to Prempeh College. So I was that type of guy. But I wanted to, somehow, I wanted to break out of it. And I was, if you don't recover, you can't join the army. You know, so maybe that wish plugged it so hard into my head. Somehow I got out of that mood and I was able to transform and get there. So When people heard I was in the academy, they thought I was going to die. In fact, I left for the academy without my father's blessing or permission.
Whoa, so after Infantsipim?
Infantsipim. Because I wanted to go to the academy from Form 5. And he didn't allow me. I had to go to sixth form. So I went to the sixth form. I told you, me, academics, I was not a break. I'm an average student. And that time, this Legon administration, you know, business administration, those days it was new. It's about 2-3 years. If you don't get BBB, AAC, you know, you won't go. Me too, I was an average student. So they said I should go and do some history, sociology, and something. My father said, if that is what you want to do, then go and sit the exams again, and then you can get your course. I won't let you do this, of course. Teacher, yet. So when you finish, you come and be a teacher. So I became a rebel at home. I said, so I was hanging around. Then General Utuka came home to visit my father. This time we were in second year. And he asked, hey boy, what are you doing? Because people were in school. And my father said I was becoming a problem. I don't want to study and do the course I wanted to do. And this Major Aqua, who was killed with the 3 judges. Okay. You know, the 3 judges, there was a military officer, Major Aqua. He was my uncle. So he had also come home and seen me as trying to mess up the old folks. So he said, come and join me in that was Paper Conversion Corporation between Takoradi and Sekandi. So I was hanging around there. And then General Utuka said, what are you doing? I said, I want to join the army, but my old man doesn't want to allow me to do that. So he asked Papa, so he calls my father Papa, so Papa, so, but you chop your soldier finish. That's how Utuka talks. You chop your soldier finish. This is what I want to do. You say you agree. Why? So no, I want him to get a career and this and this. So when he was leaving, he was standing behind my father, and he said I should come and see him in his office.
Okay.
That was, I think, a Thursday or Friday evening. The Monday I was there, 2 battalion. Saw the adjutant, told him that General Utuka said I should come and see him. They call. I said, go and pack your bags. Academy, they are recruiting. So you have to go. That was me. I came, packed, and I was gone. Hey. I was lost at home. So somehow, my old man heard that I was in the academy. So he came looking for me. And then we were 2 weeks into the academy. And they had bashed us around so badly, he couldn't recognize me.
Look at that.
I was told that, look, Major Budu-Koomson wants to see you. And they knew him to be very senior. So they doubled me to him. You can't walk. You have to trot everywhere. We were dirty. We had just come from steeplechase. And I was covered in mud. They have scraped your head. And there were so many cuts because blood near the and your papa. You know, so they doubled me to the mess. And that was my father. They wouldn't even make me stand. You would jog all the time. Double mark time. They said, mention your name. Officer Koomson, sir, to my father. I said, my father looked at me and said, Ebenezer Budu-Koomson. It has been, my colleagues keep on teasing me up to today. Those who knew about it. I must have looked aside.
Let me take a break here and come back, but I think that's where it gets interesting. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying, and we are back to it, listening to the interesting life and times of Captain Budu-Koomson. And just before the break, Daddy has just come to visit at the boot camp. But did he give you his blessing then?
Oh, sure. From there, our course commander used to be one of his juniors when he was in the para battalion. You know, so he called, he said, who's your course commander? I said, Major Ungwa. That time he was Captain Ungwa. Now he became General Ungwa, doing this AFRC thing. Okay. So he called him, said, look, this is your son, take care of him. The guy nearly killed me. If you are my son, then I have to make sure say Unjimi. You know, so I was, you know.
Strict monitoring.
And things people will do and get away with. Since your father is my boss, I have to make sure that you are straight.
Wow.
You know, and it actually did help. Meanwhile, General Utuka was just across. He was now the commandant, and he was going to India for his course. So he went there and also told us, if you brought him, then make sure you take care of him. You know, so like I was under strict supervision.
Oh my God, you can't get out.
You couldn't get away with a lot, you know, but it helped. I was so punished for the slightest infringement. And my drill was good because I grew up in the barracks. This left, right, and things they were not teaching these bushmen. I knew already, you know, so my drill was good. So I became actually the school prefect in my intake.
Okay.
Yeah, senior and officer in the military academy. You know, and I ended up commanding my intake parade, passing out parade, you know. And that's why the problem started. General Acheampong was the head of state. So he came to the passing out parade. And when my dad was in Kumasi, Acheampong was a captain. The wife is called Faustina Acheampong. My mother's maiden name is Faustina Acheampong.
Oh dear.
So it's like Sister Penny. And those days, these captains, Acheampong, Kembachos, Major Prempe, and all this, they were bad boys. So they would go to booze, and when the women would talk, they would beat them up, whatever. And then my mother was a referee. So Acheampong knew me, and he knew us. So he came, and then he saw me commanding the parade. And he asked, I understand he asked the commanding officer of military academy, who is this Koomson? And he said, well, Papa was of his son, Reverend J.C. Koomson. And he knew my father before the 66 coup and all those things. I said, where is the old man? They said the old man is sitting on the left side. Against all protocol, immediately the parade was over, he came down and went to my old man. So the whole SMC2, SMC1 moved to where my father was. General Bob Kote, you know, Akufu. He knew all of them. They were his juniors. So
this was 70.
This was 75.
Okay.
November 75. You know, went to the academy early 74, ended at 75. And I was going with my mates when the parade RSM shouted, "Second Lieutenant Koomson!" I turned around, I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "You are the officer." I say, "Yes, sir." You know. So I said, "The old man wants to see you. Fall in, let's go, left, right, left." You know, I still was in the cadet mode. So when he said left, right, left, me too, I'll do left, right, left, right. We went straight to where the head of state was. Halted, salute, I saluted. And then I saw my father, so I relaxed a little bit. Because, what could I have done wrong, you know? And then they all started laughing. They broke out laughing because they could see the consternation in my face, and I was so stiff. So, hey, young man, relax. You know, and that was the head of state, and they cracked a few jokes with me. And Acheampong asked me, "So what unit are you going?" I said, "Airborne Force." Those days, if you're a good soldier, you want to go to the Airborne Force, Tamale, go and jump, you know. And then he smiled. So that was the end of the issue. Monday, me and Kofi Amwabing, this Kofi Amwabing,
yes,
we were mates. We were going to the officer shop to get our kit.
He was in the cadet at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a year behind us, but he passed out with us because they came in with professions. So we went to the officer shop, and I knew that para battalion, I have to get the green beret and certain specific, and they were giving black, and they were giving me black. I said, "What?" He said, "This is wrong." I said, "Why?" I said, "I'm going to para battalion." The guy said, "Well, the list I have, you are not going to para battalion." I said, "What are you talking about?" I did the selection, and our units were confirmed. I said, "No." Then he took the sheet, and there was a red ink through my unit, and they read 5th Battalion. Not knowing General Acheampong is living in the 5th Battalion, and they had to cancel my intake from Friday. Monday, I was going to 5th Battalion. That was the beginning of my troubles.
Oh dear.
One thing led to the other, and by the time I could see Jack, I was stuck in his house as the residence guard commander, the resident guard commander. I was there until the coup that took him out.
Really?
The palace coup.
Okay.
I was in charge of his guards. You know, so I had to face down General Datu Wellington. He had made a coup. They came to our place and said we should ground down. I said, "Me, I have trained all my life to fight you people. You say I should just surrender without firing a shot. I won't surrender." And they had caught Acheampong around 10:30 in the morning. As at 3 o'clock, the battalion adjutant came and said we should ground arms. And I said I wouldn't do it. Because my platoon sergeant in charge of residence guard was from Kwame Nkrumah's presidential guard, POGR, POG, and he was an also SSR. If we surrender, the way they go beat we, so there was no surrender. They should come, we will fight, and they should take us out. And the boys were primed for a fight. Who are you, the officers, to say you won't fight? I said we will fight. Until around 3:30, 4-ish, they came, they said we should go and carry the colors at the airport because the Guinea president was coming to Ghana. We knew it was a trap. Coup Ghana. President is coming, we should go to the airport and carry colors. And I used to carry the colors at Black Star Square, either the regimental or the presidential, almost all the parades. So I said, well, yeah, for the colors, if they say go and carry and you don't, they will sack you. So I jumped into the vehicle, we went to the airport, and there was nothing. We were the only people there. So me, I knew it was a trap. But you couldn't tell the others in the contingent, you know. Then from nowhere, we were surrounded by engineer regiment of troops. And they said they had caught us, they put me under close arrest. I'm supposed to be taken to Odate's headquarters. That time he was the brigade commander at Teshi.
Odate Wellington.
I said, why? Me, I knew why, so I wasn't even arguing. And the people they took us, it was only me and the other officer, General Ababiu.
Who knew what was going on?
Who they were going to lock up. The rest. But I even insisted that they can't take me to the unit because the unit colors is the embodiment of my regiment. And I was so naive as a soldier, I wouldn't let them take our colors away. Wallahi, and you have to do something. So I insisted, and funnily enough, they buckled. And so they escorted me to 5 Battalion. And I quickly ran to the commanding officer. They had just made a coup. I said, sir, what did me go? My commanding officer looked at me and said, oh, I'm so quiet. I said, I couldn't believe what my commanding. You said I should go. Why did I fight to come here? So they took me and General Ababiu to brigade headquarters. Then around about an hour later, Odate was coming to the brigade headquarters. He had made the coup and actually handed over to General Kufu. He was the most powerful man in Ghana that day. And we had been locked up in one of the offices, close arrest, you know. And I told my colleague that, look, if we don't make noise and get out of this office before nightfall, we won't see tomorrow. Somebody will just pick us up in the night and shoot us. So when Odate got to the place, I started to make noise in the room, shouting like mad. My colleague thought I was always putting him into trouble. Shouted out until he said, what is that? And they said, they've locked up the General Acheampong's resident guard commander in the room. I said, bring him out. So they marched us to Odate. And there he was with his new council. And I was like possessed, shouting at the top of my voice that, why have I been locked up? You, General, and General Odate, Wellington happened to be my mentor. Okay. It's somebody I looked up and I was copying because he was the soldier at that time. You know, as a second lieutenant, I chose him to be my mentor, so I was following him all over the place. So, sir, I've listened to you, sir. You are the people who trained us, and you say that we should be professional. My last orders were to defend the president and the rest to the peril of my life. And now nobody had done anything to me. Somebody says I should surrender. Why should I surrender? Did I do anything wrong? Or that being a soldier, he couldn't tell me I had done anything wrong. He asked, what's your name? I shouted my name, Lieutenant Koomson, sir. Commander, President, Residence Guard. Then he asked Mensa Wood, that he can Mensa said, Mensa, didn't I tell you people that nobody should arrest any 5 battalion officer? Now the tables are turned. He had arrested us to gain points. Now the thing had turned on him. He said, release him, let him go. Because I asked him 3 times, I said, sir, if you don't release me, I will tell every young officer who is an ADC or bodyguard to any general, at the slightest hint of trouble, don't just run. Kill your commander before you run. Because if you fight as a professional for him, they will come and lock you up. Odate said, who are you? I mentioned my name again. So I said, what did I do wrong? My last orders were to do this, and that was what I was doing. Somebody said, surrender, you surrender? I wasn't prepared to surrender. He said, which unit? I said, 5 battalion. So where's your car, sir? I don't have any car, sir. They brought me with these people. I said, okay. Hey, call his driver, Corporal Sunday, take him to his unit. In their hurry, they forgot to take the pendant from the car, the flag. So me and General Ababiu, who was then, who were lieutenants, had to go and sit in Odate's car to my unit with the red badge and the star, everything.
The flag.
Then my colleague went and sat in the front like a bodyguard. Me, I went and sat the corner where Odate sits. And then the car left. As soon as you get to any barrier, papa, general salute. They salute, magic. So I remember when we got to Burma camp, everybody was saluting because they knew it was Odate's car. He was the champion man in Ghana that day. So we drove to 5 battalion. And when we got there, everybody was running to come and salute because General Dati Wellington was coming. Our CEO came from the office in his hurry to come and stand and salute. He almost fell into a gutter. Then I took my time and came out. And there was I, Lieutenant Kumsi. The commander's hand was up. He didn't know whether to bring it down or keep it up. You know, I looked at the commander. I looked at him, and refused to salute him. And went to the residence again. Oh, when I was being taken, he said he should take me. If I'm back, should I come and greet you? So I went to the residence. That was the end of that day's the palace coup. You know, and my boys were happy to see me back. You know.
So the pardon left Acheampong
to
Akufu.
SMC2.
But you still stayed in the army?
I still stayed in the army. Because I knew all of them. Akufu, when I was in Form 5, we were in Para Battalion. He was a commanding officer. We were the schoolboys in MS. I knew all of them. So what had I done even wrong? My dad will come and ask you. What did the small boy do wrong? You know, and I really, because I grew up with them, I knew them as my fathers. I really was not scared of any Bob Cote. I knew him as a lieutenant. You know, I knew all of them, so I really wasn't scared of anybody.
What was your next position then? Because you'd moved from heading the Presidential Guard. Yeah. Now you're back to the barracks. So what was?
I was still in the residence, taking care of Mrs. Acheampong and the children.
Okay.
What was hectic those days, if you let them, somebody might go in there and kill them or do anything to them. So I was still protecting them. Until one day, I was asked, I was told that General Acheampong asked that, no, General Dati Wellington asked, where is that boy who was causing that trouble that day? They said, he's at the residence. They said, doing what? Because Acheampong had been taken, doing what? They said, he's taking care of the family. So nonsense. Take him back to his unit and make him battalion adjutant. That's how I got back to 5 Battalion as battalion adjutant. You know, then shortly after that, I was as an adjutant. Rawlings made his 15th May coup, and again, I was in a firing line, adjutant 5 Battalion. They started the coup. Our commanding officer was on weekend pass. It was a Monday. Was on weekend pass in Lome, so there was no commanding officer. Rawlings had tried to chase Major Suleimana in the residence, and Suleimana had escaped. He had shot our 2nd Battalion 2IC. So there was no commander. So I took over and started myself and one Brigadier Kwasi. That time he was the IO and I was the adjutant. We started rallying the boys to resist Rawlings on the 15th May. Actually, we were at the quarter guard issuing weapons when Rawlings drove in with his armor car. And my hands were full with weapons, trying to get out weapons and all these things. And here we was standing on top of the car, and with the boys, I don't know who it was, Adabuga or whatever it was. And he was holding this submachine gun up there, looking at me, and we knew ourselves. I used to go to the Air Force Commander, General Boachi's ADC. They were on the same block, so he knew me. Boachi. So, and he knew me, and here he was standing on top of the Amaka, and the boys shouting, "Sir, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him." No, they were shouting at him to shoot me. And I was holding, my hands were full, I couldn't do anything, just looking up at him like this. And then somehow, he tapped the side of the Amaka that they should move. As soon as he moved, I said, that was your last chance. As soon as he moved, I was a battalion anti-tank and heavy machine gun officer. So I got my Kagu staff, got my boys, chased him, and we chased him out of the unit. That's how he ran to Air Force Base. And that time we got the recce officers led by Suleiman and Sita to bring out the armor cars, and that's how they arrested him at the Air Force Base. So we disrupted his attempt in the first instance and bought time for the recce officers to take the armor cars and chase him to the Air Force Base and arrest him. That was my first brush with J.J. Rawlings. I was still adjutant. That was 15th May.
Yeah.
From 15th May to June 4th was horrible. Every day you receive this anonymous threatening letters. Your days are normal. I was the adjutant. We will kill you. Because there was that. The movement, the agitation, and the mutiny was brewing. And Boachijan, I was battalion adjutant, and Boachijan was the commander of broadcasting house. And he used to come, we were seniors, we were all living in a single quarters, where this Major Muhammad was, where they are staying. So I used to tell them, sir, they fingered you. You were part of that 15th May coup attempt. And you are going to be court-martialed. Here are the orders. We are going to arrest you. I used to tell him, because he was an ex-MI guy. So we were colleagues. You know, the funny thing about this coup making is that you end up fighting amongst your friends.
Oh dear.
You know, so he knew that it was coming. And so then came June 4th, and I was adjutant. And again, as adjutant, you are in the thick of things. You will have.
By this time, you were captain?
No, I had not made. I was a senior lieutenant. We are just waiting to be promoted.
Okay.
Just waiting to be promoted. So, started June 4th. Actually, I went to this, my same commander who said that they should take me away. I said, sir, when these coup rumors are coming, we armed all the people and give ammunition to the officers. We don't give ammunition to the other ranks so that we can maintain control. And we don't sleep in our rooms. We are all on standby. He said, I was trying to teach him his work. Small boy. You cry, your friend. That is Kwasi. The one, they are Ayo. His father is, they are burying the father in Takwa. And that was a Friday, so go to Takwa with your friend. So I left out of anger to Takwa. And I came back the weekend, the Sunday. Immediately after church, I came back. That time, we knew the coup was going to happen. We knew almost when the day it was going to happen. It was a matter of pick up these guys. But my big men were like, yeah, plan, yeah, lay ambush, yeah, all those sorts of things. The military intelligence was in charge. So I got back at about 9:30, 10 p.m. from Takwa. I decided that this coup is going to happen and we will fight some. You know, so as soon as I got to my room, as soon as the driver got to the unit, they realized I was back. So they sent that I should come to battalion headquarters. I was so angry. I said, I came and warned about this coup, and I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be here tomorrow. So I won't come to the office. That time, my wife was 7.5 months pregnant. Those days, they thought that single quarters, I think one of the friends must have told her that Ukron or Kofa girlfriend Biabeshe quarters was. So I came and there he was with this long stomach sitting there. I said, Abba. So you didn't see all these barriers? You were. She too was a barrass girl, you know. The father was a general, so she was not afraid of all these barriers. So I was upset. 10 o'clock. As soon as I lay down, I must have slept. The next thing I heard was, pow! Everybody jumped. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. Blackout. The coup had started. All you could hear was, kill all officers. And it was frightening. Kill all officers. You can't see anybody. And here I was alone. If I were with the group of officers, I would have felt a bit more comfortable. Alone. And that was my unit. And the challenge was, how do I get inside to join the fight? If you're outside, they will kill you faster. Then there was this 7.5-month pregnant woman with a long stomach. By the time I could gather my wits, an armored car came to where we were and fired straight through my window, they spoiled the ceiling. So I ran and left her in a room, into the bush. She was shouting in the room, so I had to come back and take her out again. I said, well, if you're trouble, I'll go find my. You know. So that was about 2 a.m., 1:30. And I had to crisscross the bush around until about. I was trying to find a safe place for her to hide so I can go. And she said she won't let me go because she knows if I should leave, I would die. Because there was firing all the place, you couldn't see nothing. And all you hear is kill all officers.
Wow.
So, around about 5:36. Meanwhile, where was in the bush? People were firing into the bush, knowing that some of us, the officers, had escaped through the back there. And about 5:36-ish, the lights, the dawn had started, and I heard some noise in the bush, and I knew that, whoa, now the boys are coming into the bush to finish us. So I took dead aim. I said, you stay under this bush. So I put some small gap. At least when they fire me, it won't touch her. Then I took aim, and then I saw something passing. In this fight, somebody was wearing white shirt. I looked, and it was Chremejan, Boachijan's younger brother. Because I was prepared to empty my magazine before somebody killed me. And I didn't shoot him. Then the next one was a woman after him. And that was Mrs. Boachijan. I didn't shoot the woman. Then the next I saw was Boachijan himself. The guy is using them as baits to clear the way for himself. So I said, sir, he almost dropped dead. So he came to me and said, "Sir, what is happening?" I said, "Hey, are you alive?" I said, "Yes, I hear all this." Then we are the only 2 officers surviving because they've killed all the officers. I said, "V, how?" Because the noise was kill all officers. And he said he thought he was also the only officer alive. Now if he had seen me, then we are 2. Then I said, no, sir, because I hear Ranger Mensah also shouting at the magazine. So at least he is still alive and fighting. So maybe we have to join him. Not knowing our talking had attracted noise. All we heard was, then somebody had shot in our direction. And out of fear, when you are frightened and you dive, this ground is like Bono mattress. I dove into the bush. He also dove in one direction. I think out of fear, I stayed down for too long. So when I got up, I said, sir, I was looking for Buachija, and he was a captain, and we hadn't made captain yet. Nowhere. I went to where my wife was. She wasn't there. Nobody was there. I was alone. No name. Buachija immediately took them, and he left, and they had escaped, and he took them to the wife's school in Acheampong. I was on my own. And I knew that I had heard Ranger Mensah's noise down there, so I said I will crawl to that place. About almost half a kilometer, you will crawl on your belly. I got in somewhere and there was...
This is around Burma Camp?
Burma Camp, all within our area. Arakan Barracks, between the single quarters and Acheampong's residence, the complex. All in 5 battalion. Sounds like a big area, but it's confined. And I got into this corn farm. It was about this height. Apparently, the guy had weeded the grass, the weeds the previous day. So it was very transparent. And there was this observation tower in General Acheampong's compound. I knew the house inside out. And Acheampong's boys, Acheampong was from the mortar platoon in 5 battalion. And we were from the same company. He was the mortar officer and I was the anti-tank and heavy guns officer. And he is using that as his observation point and he was shelling Recce Regiment. So when I saw it, I said, okay, since they were not firing in my direction, nobody has seen me, so I will relax small. So there's this proverb, a new animal, I put my head down small to relax. I had slept. It must have been around 9 o'clock, 8:30. The next thing I heard, I thought I was dreaming. Something was pressing my head into the soil, and someone was shouting at me, and I couldn't raise my head. Not knowing he had the barrel of the G3, the gun in my ear, right ear, pressing my head into the soil, and shouting all sorts of insults at me. Incidentally, when they said, kill all officers, not knowing that the other officers, everybody had removed his epaulets. Me, battalion adjutant, with DB, my epaulets were there, guy. So they had got me, the guy was going to kill me. Hey.
That's an officer.
Then he said, I should get into the thicket. I said, you are making noise. So you see those people there, they haven't seen us, that's why they haven't shot at you. If you make them attract, if you attract their attention, they'll kill both of us. He saw it and he started panicking. So I said, get into the bush. And if you get into the thicket, he will kill you. Well, nobody wants a witness. And I knew if I got into that thicket, he would kill me. I said I would. He booted that day my ribs didn't break. I don't think anything will break my ribs. He booted me until he made me do a spagat. And he almost ripped my legs apart. Took my gun, everything, and I haven't been beaten that way in my life before. Just that I said I won't go into the thicket. Then somewhere along that line, he said, you are lucky, I'm a Christian. I said, oh, my papa, you're so full. You are a Christian, my father is a priest. Why are you doing this?
We are in the same industry.
So, okay, you are a bad guy. Look, Nimpa Bako, you have one person, you've got about 4 magazines. You are a bad guy. They say you are a bad man. Say. So I talked to him, I said, okay, is there a way out here to escape? Well, he too couldn't go and join up because you are from outside coming in. Somebody could shoot you. I said, yes. Not knowing that this guy was a brand new officer, other rank commission officer, who had come to the unit. And I had come there on Friday and insulted him that they were shabbily dressed, they should go home and dress properly and come. So he bore me a grudge. Tete Mate. So
what's his name?
Tete Mate. So he said I should lead the way so that we'll escape. I said, okay. As soon as we took off, this grass, some grass that grows like twine.
Yeah.
I hadn't fully dressed up because, you know, I got up and I was running out of my room. So my right boot lace had not been properly laced. So it had entwined in this thing. As soon as I got up, I fell. He thought I was trying to escape. He emptied his machine gun in me, his magazine, the bullets. Pop, 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 pop. I froze. And then I heard something like pepper on my right. I said, what are you doing? He said, you were trying to. I said, no, 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 look at my leg. Before he saw that something had entwined in the laces and the boots, and the place was burning, not knowing that out of fear or shock or God knows what, he himself, at point blank range, he's emptied his magazine and he missed me. But what was hurting was the ricochet, the stones, pebbles there was all that cut, you know. So I started bleeding profusely, and it was that pepper. Wow. You know. So he said, if you try another trick, I'll kill you. So we started going again. And somewhere along the line, we wanted to go to Bachona railway station. That's where all of them passed. We were ambushed again by the soldiers, so we had to run to mats. Somewhere along the line, there was this watermelon farmer, and we were thirsty. It's about 10:30, and they have been harassed since the previous night. You know, so we wanted to get some of the watermelon, and he had a gun behind me. From nowhere came this farmer with the cutlass. Almost froze and wanted to run. The one with the gun behind me. So I just turned around, but I snatched the gun out of his hand, fired in front of the farmer, and told him to run. By the time I turned back, he had raised his hands. Sir, I beg you. Sir, I beg you. I said, who are you? Then he mentioned his name. I said, you are an officer, and you wanted to kill me? Sir, I beg you, sir. Sir, I beg you, sir. You know, so I took him to military academy and handed him over to Colonel Bedema. He was standing there and looking at the smoke and the firing in Burma camp like he was watching a cowboy film. So I handed him over, and I was asked to brief the brigade commander, the commandant, and I went and briefed the commandant. We were there from about 11, 12 until they came, these revolutionary boys. They came and just arrested the brigade commander and everything. Luckily, my father-in-law, his nephew, was one of the armor car drivers.
Who was your father-in-law then?
General Chumesi.
Okay.
That's my wife's father.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Was one of the armor car drivers. Suleiman and Sita were now at brigade headquarters, fully loaded, and wanted to mount an assault on Burma camp. So the drivers were there. Came these revolutionary soldiers, like Red Indians, Mole Noise, they came there and they arrested the man. And I asked the soldiers, the recce drivers, to go and hide in the cookhouse. So they hid in the cookhouse. So when they came, the armor cars were there, loaded till the tires were even going flat with bombs and whatever, but there were no drivers. So they left. As soon as they left, Bempa, who is that my relative through my wife, and the recce drivers came and said, sir, so what do we do? I looked at her and said, we go to Burma camp. They looked at me like, Moto, are you okay? Yeah, I'm going to Burma camp. They will kill us. I said, so where shall we go? If you go to Lome, we won't have enough fuel. I don't even know the road. We can't go to Abidjan. We can't go to Kumasi. So we might as well fight. Because me, I was the last person who was talking to Odate Wellington on the field radio when they shot him in Nima police station. So my name is all over the place. So if I surrender, they will kill me. So I would rather fight. And then we'll see our last. So he said, sir, are you sure? I said, I'm sure, pa, let's go. You teach me. I'm an infantryman. I'm not an armor car officer. So, recce officer. So I said, teach me how to traverse your gun, how to cock and fire. They taught me how to traverse. I said, we're going to Burma camp. I'll take the lead. When I start firing, fire. You know Congo Junction? Burma camp, Congo Junction there. After Congo Junction, getting to the main gate, there was this group of soldiers there, and I don't know what they were doing, but I was watching them. Then someone made a mistake because they saw the recce regiment, the armor cars, as the enemy. Somebody made a mistake and fired in our direction, rifle. So you guy. So I just, out of fear, I just put my head down and started firing. I think we plowed the ground there. So right to Burma camp main gate and went inside. We went inside and then we drove left because I have to take the line of least resistance. Within 15 minutes, I had captured Air Force Base. I can't go back to my unit. So we were waiting for nightfall, and I heard that they were going to use the mortars, and at least we would have fought, you know. Then about 6:30ish, Boachijan came to Air Force Base. And I was very upset because I arrested some of the officers there and put them on duty as my watchouts. And then Boachijan came in and said, as soon as I said, where's my wife? Because he took him there that morning and I hadn't seen anything again. So I took her to your father. That time my father was at Calvary Methodist Church. He was the chaplain there.
Okay.
I said, are you sure? I was so furious with him for whatever reason. He said, yes. I said, okay, let's go. If I don't see my wife, I'll kill you. So I took him to my father's place at Calvary Methodist Church. And there they were. And my mother knew that I always got into trouble with these coups. But normally I would call and assure them. This time they said they heard the coup midnight. 6 o'clock in the morning, I hadn't called. 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, now everybody was crying. They knew that I was dead. Then suddenly here I was looking all scruffy and the blood had caked in my uniform, you know. And so they said what it was, and I told them, and I saw my wife. And we went back to Bemakam. That was June 4th for you. So we ended up, they started arresting all the officers, you know, in the camps. And so finally, they had to bring me back to 5 Battalion. I became Adjutant AFRC Headquarters. And with my unit, we had to resist the possibility of arresting officers in 5 Battalion. Otherwise, the revolution had died. So I became Adjutant Old Regime, Adjutant New Regime, Adjutant AFRC Headquarters. That's where me and Rawlings started becoming friends again.
Captain, I can't live without your life in exile because somehow you ended up in Lome.
Yeah. Again, me. After the June 4th revolution, after the handing over, there was a Liman administration. And somehow, because we were very active that time, my name came up as I'm a rebel. So I was in town one day when I was told that your name has been announced that Middle East, when you are going to Middle East, they don't announce on radio. Me, George Patterson, Richard Addo, Ranger Mensah, Kwashiga, we were the bad boys. They thought we were the bad boys and were supposed to go to Middle East. So I left for the Middle East ahead of my unit. Sharp, and I got to the Middle East. And they will not let me join my unit. So I was hanging because they thought I was a bad influence. And for what reason, I didn't know. So I was posted to Unified Headquarters. That time, General Erskine was there. And I went to see General Erskine. He knew my father. So evenings, we would go and have a chat. Then he asked me, Ojam, that's how you would call Ojam, boys, he bought me, you know, and I was a black man commanding a white platoon. They posted me to the Norwegian commander. Mostly they didn't want me in Gambat for whatever reason. So they posted me to the Norwegian commander as an ops room operations officer. And Norbert was supposed to detail, continuing to defend Nakura. That's the Unified Headquarters. And that's how I got there. So when I got there, here is me, the black man commanding Norwegians, Irish, Senegalese, a very composite unit. So Erskine sent for me, and I got there, and he knew my father. So he asked me, can you, these boys, they are very racist, especially the camp commandant. It's an old British major, very, very racist. So be careful of them, but evenings when you have time, come. So I did 3 months with him at the headquarters. Interestingly, we were attacked twice, and we were able to repel them twice, and for being pushed there, I got 2 citations, which had turned the tables in my favor, right? And then I had a chance of also escorting the UNIFIL logistics convoy from south of Lebanon, Nakura, to Tripoli, the port in the north, and bring them back. And it was exciting. You will fight going out and fight coming back. So me, it was a good experience. You had proper combat experience in there. Then we came to Ghana. Now I have been promoted captain. And I got back to Ghana. And they still wouldn't let me into my 5 Battalion. Shortly after my disembarkation leave, they said, Captain Koomson, now you are going to brigade headquarters. I said, what is it in the unit they think I did? They don't want me to sit there.
Captain, hold on. Let me take a quick break here so we'll continue. Very much for staying. Captain, so you're back into the regiment now. They won't let you into the team. But how did you manage to find yourself in Lome?
Oh, like I said, I was posted to brigade headquarters. Now as a brigade intelligence officer for the Southern Ghana. Just then, I think I was posted there barely 3-4 months. Rawlings did his coup again. Now I was the IO, and naturally I was the brigade intelligence officer. I have to fight. You can't run. The day the coup started, I managed to join my unit, and our battalion brigade commander went and surrendered. I couldn't talk about you go and surrender. You hear announcement that you surrender. But then there was a brigade major, Nantoma, and myself, who decided we would resist. So we actually resisted from 31st till the 8th of January, when they broke through our lines, and stormed brigade headquarters. And they came with 3 armored cars. I was standing at the entrance. My office is downstairs, the IO's room. And I was there with one Captain Tete from Engineer Regiment. And they came, and this armored car came and stood right in front of me. And this Sergeant Major jumped down. Other Kunu Okwaha, one of the, I keep on confusing the names, from Reki Regiment, which is just across the street from our battalion. He jumped down, and he had this piece of paper in his hand with names on it. Not knowing there were the names they were to pick and kill. So they got here, and he told the guy with the armor car that even if I bat an eye, he should send me to my maker. And you were staring into the, you know, this armor car, the barrel is not small. So if it fire at you, and see the guy traversing the gun and then rest it on your chest. So I had my hands folded, I had my pistol here, so you don't want your hand to come down, otherwise they will mistake it like you want to do something. And then they came, they asked, where is the brigade major? I said, upstairs. So they went upstairs, not knowing the man was asleep. They picked him, we had a lot of commotion, papa, they brought him down. They slapped him, he fell onto another landing, and I was sweating. Nobody had done anything to me, my top was already soaked with sweat. And then they asked him, where's Captain Koomson? I turned my body like this, and I saw him eyeball to eyeball, and it was like, shut up. So I turned around, I said, I gave him exit, he's gone to Birmingham. And here was a Reki Sergeant Major who knew me, but was asking for Captain Koomson. Luckily, the last time I dressed, I had taken off the uniforms that had my name inside, and now I wore a uniform without name. Because I was in Israel, and I did a commando course in Israel, and I had all this Koomson, Ghana Army, with my flashes, you know. This day, I was wearing something with no name. So they said the guy standing next to me was rather Captain Koomson, so they caught him. Within that 3 seconds, the way they beat him, until somebody said that he is not Koomson, so they let him free. So the armor cars left, and they killed Major Nantoma before they even got to Air Force Base. And another officer helped me to escape from Burma camp, from that place. You know Teshi?
Yeah.
He said if he picks me in his car through the gate, they will catch all of us. So he is going to take his car. He had his 3-month-old baby. So he will put him on the seat. Nobody will harass a 3-month-old baby. And if I can get onto that lagoon bridge from where we were, by the time he gets there, he will take me. Come and see steeple chase. I had to jump this fence. How I jumped, I don't know. Went through the mud and water, and I got to the bridge, when he was there. He picked me up, and when we got to Trade Fair site, you saw the armor cars coming back. They said, Koomson and Ejina, so they were coming to pick me. That's how I escaped from brigade headquarters. My friends organized for me, and they smuggled me to Togo.
Wow. At which point did Mrs. Koomson come in? Mrs.
Koomson?
Yeah. Where did you meet?
Mrs. Koomson, I never met her until I left Lome after some years for Germany. And then I met Rawlings in 1998. And he said, you know, because we're branded bandits, those days we will come, so we'll come back to Ghana, try to make a coup, it won't succeed, we'll go back to Germany, all sorts of things. I said, now there's democracy, come back home. So 1968.
So Rawlings invited you back home?
Yeah, I came back as his personal guest.
After tormenting him?
You know, because I said June 4th, we became close. And then the harassment started again. But hey, it was professional, it was nothing personal. You know, so he came to Mother Teresa's funeral. On the way back, the airport authorities organized and I was able to meet them. They wanted to see whether I really did know him. And we ended up talking. He invited me to come back to Ghana. You know, so, and although I was head of human resource, Dusseldorf Airport, the company, I was prepared to leave everything and come back to Ghana. I was never satisfied. So I decided to come back to Ghana. And then I came, I think it was October, November, thereabouts, to Ghana. And that's when I saw my mother. Since 82 or 81, I saw my mother in 98.
Wow.
No, 99 October. 99 October. She was now an old lady and thinking about me and my brothers had made her deteriorate. My dad had died. I couldn't come for the funeral. And she saw me after all these years, almost 20 years. And she just put her hands on her chest and said, she stood there, wouldn't come to me. I said, Mom, it's me. Oh, it's me. I said, yes. Now, what's a bra? Did they say, are you allowed to come back home? And then my younger brother stupidly said, no. She said, go back. I said, stop that nonsense, Mama, it's not true. You know, so I sat down with her for a while, and I said I had to go and see my elder brother who was in jail. And so I didn't spend much time with her and said I will come back the next Monday or so. That was it. I got back to Accra. There was an alarm, false alarm, that all my colleagues were now battalion commanders, and they had come back to Accra, and one of them was hosting me at dinner. An alarm blew that we were there in Yebeye coup, so they nearly lynched me again. So I ran away back to Togo, to Germany. The next Monday, the IGP calls, that was Namfuri. Hey, Minua, where are you? The old man wants to see you. I insulted him well. So people want to kill me. So who's the old man? I don't have any old man. I'm a German. I don't have any old man. I'm gone. I'm in Düsseldorf. So, oh, how? I said, but you wanted to kill me last night. I said, oh, it was a mistake. I said, you know, so I was in Germany, and then they told me that my old lady had died. I broke down because when I had a chance to spend time with her, I spent only 15 minutes or so. And I went back. You know, so I came back to bury my mom. And then Rawlings said that I could come back. So December 99, towards 2000, I came back and refused to go back.
A story and a half. A story and a half. I could sit here for 3 days and just listen to the story, but wow, what a story. Hope you enjoyed it. But if you're watching it on Friday, right after News File on Saturday, this will be repeated, and I'm sure you'd want to sit down and get all the details of this story. What an amazing story. Captain, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I've enjoyed every bit.
It's a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much for watching. Until next Friday, then I come to you with another personality. Have a beautiful week.